Today, we're going to learn how to play Cabal. The planet Crackerjack has interesting terrain full of natural resources. It also has precious gems scattered all over it. You are the head of the Cabal looking to exploit the natural resources and collect all the precious gems from the planet's surface. To do that, you have to make sure that the aliens living on planet Crackerjack are strategically placed. How are you going to do that? Well, let me explain. To set up, lay the game board on the table. Next, take the 6 alien tokens and place them randomly on the planet's surface. Please note that the score track as well as the grid are not part of the planet's surface. Next, place the 21 gem tiles randomly on the player board face down so their values cannot be seen. Then, get each player to pick a player token and place it on the start of the score trip. The black disc is placed in round 1. Finally, shuffle the 6 decks of cards and give each player 1 card from the orange deck, yellow deck, green deck, blue deck, and purple deck. Please note that players do not get a card from the red deck yet. This only happens in round 5, which is also printed on the game board. Choose a starting player. The player who most recently had an encounter with an alien gets to start. This could be in real life or in the form of a book, movie, or TV show. The aim of the game is to score the most points possible by the end of the game. To do that, you simply have to collect gems or fulfill the goals of the cards in your hand. To score points from gems, you simply have to collect them from the surface of the planet. The value of each gem tile is determined by the number of gems on them. For example, this gem tile is worth only 1 point. But this gem tile is worth 6 points because there are 6 purple gems on them. Orange cards score at the end of your own turn. If the condition on the orange card is met at the end of your turn, you score the number of points stated in the card. For example, earn 4 points immediately if you've moved the red alien from a blue terrain to a purple terrain. Green cards and yellow cards score at the end of the player on your right and left's turn respectively. If the condition on the yellow or green card is met at the end of that player's turn, both you and the active player score the number of points stated in the card. For example, both you and the player on the right earn 4 points immediately if that player's moved any alien 1 space on a yellow or green terrain. And on this yellow card, both you and the player on your left earn 3 points immediately if that player moves any alien 2 spaces on purple terrain. Blue cards are scored at the end of any player's turn except your own. If the condition on the blue card is met at the end of the active player's turn, you score the number of points stated in the card, while the active player loses the stated number of points. For example, if the active player moves an alien onto the top left quarter, you earn 1 point immediately, while the active player loses 2 points. Purple cards are scored at the end of any player's turn except your own. Purple cards are always displayed for all players to see. If the condition on the purple card is met at the end of the active player's turn, the active player scores the number of points stated in the card, while you lose the stated number of points. For example, if the active player moves the orange alien and moves any alien onto a yellow terrain, you lose 4 points immediately, while the active player earns 4 points. Red cards are scored at the end of the game. If the condition on the red cards are met at the end of the game, you score the number of points stated on the card. During their turn, the active player has to make a number of moves. The number of moves the active player makes increases with each round. In rounds 1 and 2, the active player can make 2 moves. In rounds 3 and 4, the active player can make 3 moves, and in rounds 5 and 6, the active player takes 4 moves. The number of moves the active player can take in each round is printed at the bottom of the game board. So, what is a move? A move could be moving an alien either horizontally or vertically. A move could also be picking up a gem. However, an alien must be on the same space as the gem to pick it up. A player could also use a move to exchange one of their go cards with the top card from the deck of the same color. What makes the game interesting is that other players can try to influence the active player's move by telling them which aliens to move where and how it will benefit them. Remember though, the other players cannot show the active players their cards. They can only tell them what moves they should make. Since the active player knows that the player on her left and her right have cards that are beneficial to her, it might serve her purpose to listen to them. Remember though, they also have cards that only benefit themselves and not the active player. So the active player has to carefully analyze their agenda and motives. For example, the player on the active player's right might strongly suggest moving the red alien from this space on the board to this space on the board. However, the player on the left suggests moving the green alien from this spot to this spot. The player on the left could also point out to the active player that the added benefit of listening to them is they have an ability to pick up a gem from the board, giving them additional points. The active player then has to decide which of the two players to listen to, if any. Given enough moves, they might even be able to listen to both of them. Once their move is confirmed, all players reveal their cards, which score at the end of that round. Those cards are then discarded and replaced with cards from the same colored deck. Play then moves on to the next player. At the start of round 5, each player is also given 2 red cards which they add to their hand of cards. The red cards score at the end of the game. The game ends at the end of round 6. The points from the red cards are calculated as well as all the collected gems. The player with the most points wins. And that's Cabal.